All right. You ready? Okay. Welcome. For anyone who happens to be watching or catches the video in the future, if you don't know, first of all, thanks for if you don't know who I am, thanks for checking it out. My name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord. I usually stream Saturday mornings each week here on my channel. A couple hours back, I'm a few hours late today because I had some other stuff to do locally. So right now it's about 1 p.m. my time. And I usually start streaming about 10 a.m. my time, so about 3 hours ago. If you are interested in CircuitPython or programming in general, then I would encourage you to come back at the usual time, around 10 a.m. Central Time, like I said, here on my channel on Saturdays, and I also stream at the same time on Tuesdays over on the Adafruit channel. Always working, well, not always, but the vast majority of the time I'm working in the CircuitPython land. If you don't know what CircuitPython is, you can learn more about it at the main website here, CircuitPython.org. This is basically a version of Python that can run on tiny computers called microcontrollers. The way it works typically with these devices, you'd plug them into your computer with a USB cable. They show up like a thumb drive, a little storage drive. You can edit a Python code file on that drive, and when you save it, the microcontroller will execute the Python code for you. And then whatever you hook up to that device, you can control with your Python code. So some of these devices, some of these microcontrollers are very general, like these Raspberry Pi Picos, have very little in the way of built-in hardware. Others have more purpose-built stuff, like this sort of educational experimental device, which has a temperature sensor, a bunch of neopixels, a speaker, a microphone, a couple of buttons, a switch, a IR receiver, an emitter, an accelerometer. So this one has all kinds of stuff going on. Others are even more purpose-built, like this MacroPad is made pretty much specifically to be a MacroPad device. You can, of course, program it and do other stuff with it, but that's its kind of form factor. That's what the peripherals it has built in are. So CircuitPython.org, that's where you can learn more about this. As always, thanks to Adafruit. What is up, VP Tech Ops? Nice to see you today, my friend. As always, thanks to Adafruit. They make CircuitPython possible by paying a team of folks to work on the project. All the code is open source. It is all hosted on GitHub under open source licenses. You can check it out if you're interested. Anyone's allowed to put it on their own microcontrollers. Anyone's allowed to add support to new microcontrollers. There's no licensing fee to use it or run it or make projects or products with it. And I think that is pretty cool. Adafruit makes it possible, again, like I said, by paying a team of folks, including myself, to work on it. You want to help support CircuitPython and all of the other open source work that Adafruit makes possible by paying folks. One of the easiest ways to do it is by purchasing hardware from them at their website, adafruit.com. You can get microcontrollers as well as all sorts of other doodads, bits and bobs, widgets, what have yous to hook up to your microcontroller in order to make fun and interesting projects. All right. Yes. What is up, VP Tech Ops? Maybe I don't remember if I said that. I think I may have, but that's all right. So diving in, we are in the thick of it today. I am just working on trying to get CircuitPython, well, not quite building, because it does actually build, but building and flashing and running on this ESP32C6. I am working on support for I2SIn. So the PR is actually in for that. If anyone who happens to catch this is interested in I2SIn and CircuitPython, PR 10990 has support for that built in. But you can see it failed a bunch of the C6 based builds. So that is what I'm trying to figure out right now. And in particular, what I seem to have come across is that I can build successfully for the C6, but when I flash it, the device does not like boot up to CircuitPython successfully. It's in some kind of broken ESP bootloader trying to find flash. I don't actually know what it's doing, but it's spitting a bunch of stuff out on the serial line that is not CircuitPython and does look like a unhappy boot looping type of a situation. And I have not really messed with the C6 very much at all, so I have no sort of prior experience with building CircuitPython for it or flashing it or anything like that. I assume that it is mostly the same as the ESP32, which I have a little bit more experience with devices based on that. And so I kind of am working off of that assumption. Let's see here, I did have to add this, but this ended up not really building. Or it, like I said, it built, but it doesn't work. So I think what I want to do is I want to be able to get this back. So I don't really use stash all that much, but I think I am for right now gonna that out. Is there uncommitted or shelve? I don't know the difference between shelve and stash. See if we find out by using shelve instead. This was enabling audio I2SIn C6. Exactly what it's doing, but that's the effect it's having overall. Really what it's doing is it's making sure ESP driver I2S is included if the module is turned on, which it currently is. Include ESP driver I2S if audio. Okay, so now I have no local changes that are not committed. Currently have thing unpush. Does shelve make a commit? Anyway, okay, I don't know why that's got the little icon there, but let's not worry too much about that. Oh, that's an old branch. Okay, that's a different branch. Yeah, okay, I don't care about that. Check out main. So I'm going to just go back to the basics. We're going to try to build main and flash it and see if it comes up so that I can know whether problem is with the new stuff or problem is with I don't understand how to build and or flash C6. Why is this? Oh, we're on the shelf now. Okay, interesting. We're in the build folder. Let's get out of there. So I'm going to have to do a bunch of things. So we need to get in the IDF, ESP, export. We need to, maybe not so much a bunch of things. That was the main one, I think. We need to probably clean, I think. We want a clean build. One has a insanely long name, so I'm going to copy paste it. Okay. Just to build. See, what state is this in right now? I can't remember if I left it in a broken state or a working state. Broken. Okay, so this is what it does when it is not working. It seems to be boot looping or something, and it's just doing the same sort of stuff over and over again. Stop that just so it stops looping. But it's got this thing, build set, saved, mode, load, invalid image block. And then it redoes there. That's basically the full loop right there. ESP-ROM is the first line, ESP main 331 is the last line, and this starts over here. Invalid image block, can't boot. Okay. So one question will be, does the thing I'm trying to add fit? Which, but here's where this is a little weird, is like there's kind of a bunch of things here. I don't really know truthfully what all these different things are for. IROM, would that be image ROM? In any case, the only one of these that's close to full, well, this one is 100% full. The only one that's full, though, is this LP reserve. This is only 24 bytes, though. I don't know. This is like a little header or a something. I don't know what that is, but it's not, I don't think it's an image block, right? It does not sound like it would be that, really. All the rest of these are nowhere near 100%. So I would not think that size is the problem, but I'm not sure. All right, we did get a firmware somewhere in here, so we can try to load it, which we do with the web serial ESP tool. We want this to go to bootloader. Hold boot and do reset. Make sure this is not connected. That got me a few times because we don't want that to be trying to gank the channel from the browser here. Connect to here. So this is a thing that happens. This doesn't seem great, but it does say this. And I did flash CircuitPython downloaded from S3 or wherever the link on the downloads page goes, and it worked. So I don't think this is problematic, even though it kind of seems like it would be. All right, so erase seems to think it worked. Choose a file. We can go into here, build, and then so here we do have two of these. I don't really know, like I kind of assume firmware is the correct one based on building for UF2 devices and even building for the ESP32 regular ESP32 stop. I'm pretty sure I've used, well, for UF2 ones, I know that I use firmware.uf2. For the ESP32, I'm pretty sure that I have also used firmware.bin, and it worked. But I don't really know what CircuitPython firmware.bin is, or if that's different. Well, I do know that it's different because I checked the hashes of the files and they're different. But I don't know, is it like one does not have the bootloader or the other regions or the something something? I don't know really what the difference is. Okay, so this thing thinks that it wrote, did not do any kind of validating or anything, but it does think that it wrote. Run the firmware, press reset. So we get those were like CircuitPython startup blinks. I have seen this thing blinks for a little while longer. I'm not sure what that indicates, but it does seem normal. It's weird because it's not in the code.py file, but does it? It eventually stops, I think. Maybe it's Wi-Fi or something. No. Okay. So in this case, maybe it won't stop actually, because I think we're in the broken state. I think this is the broken state. is this is exactly what happens when you try to do connect from here and you're in the broken state. I saw it was ACM1, I thought. Interesting, though, because it's not chatting on ACM1. Maybe it wasn't, actually? Huh, that's odd. It's not quite the broken state, either. Now it is. It's odd. Okay. Oh, but this is different. This is a different thing. Okay, that didn't work. And I am on main now, so this should be... This should be up to date. Okay, so the next thing to check... I'm going to try absolute newest from here. Because I think what I did before was one of these somewhere. I don't know which one, but I don't think I went to here and did absolute newest. And one thing that has happened is on some of the latest ones, like I don't know if there's been a release yet or not. I'm not sure where we're at. I'd have to look back at the releases to know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that ESP IDF update 2.6.0 just happened recently. So I wonder if this device does not boot correctly after that or not. We should be in ESP bootloader. We can go back to here. We can, I like to just refresh this. This again, do erase again. Files over here now. Am I misremembering like a validate step? I thought there was a step that ran after it flashed. What am I thinking of? That's those blinks, and I assume we'll get blinky again. But let's check here first. Are we back to 0? Okay. All right. Okay, so I think this is a wider problem. This has nothing to do with my change. Well, I mean, it might, because it is a different error on my build. But in any case, this definitely seems broken also. Okay, so let us try to narrow this down a little bit further and see when IDF6... Well, let's make sure it was actually merged. I think it is. Let's try the commit before that and see if it has the same problem or not. Okay, merged 2 days ago. Did I try a non-alpha? Yes, I have. Yeah, so we can do that as well, though. That's a good good sanity check to do again. I have done it, but like it was not on stream. It was the other day. Let's do this actually. Let's download it. I guess that's what that other file is probably. Oh, whatever. Let's download a new one. So I believe well, so I don't know about this one, but I think here, this I'm pretty sure runs successfully. Although this is not the one I downloaded before, but maybe I used Open Installer? I don't know. Let's find out though. So this is 10.2.0. Let's try that with this thing. I'm going to keep using this since this is how I have to flash the ones that I build. Oh. Wait, I never put it back to bootloader though. Why did this connect? That's kind of weird. I think I'm going to bail and put it back to bootloader. I am pretty sure that this build worked though. Either this or the 10.3.1 or whatever was here in 3 alpha 1. One of these two I tried the other day and it worked. Knock on wood, hopefully it's still the same. All right, there's the erase, downloads, bins. And it looks like that's what I had, 10.3.0 alpha 1. Program, and I'm pretty sure it works. Although I also do think that I did install one using the actual like open installer button as well. Pretty sure that one worked too. I mean, one thing is maybe there's like, maybe I'm just doing this all wrong, right? Maybe I need to put a number in these or something. But again, like I said, I'm pretty sure I did it the other day this way. All right, so let's try reset. And we got startup blinks. Got other blinks. Back to 1. Okay, yeah, now we're totally just in CircuitPython. Totally fine. No problem. I don't know why this thing blinks. Like, that's still a mystery to me, why that was blinking a minute ago, but... Well, at the startup, I think, like, the startup I understand. That's kind of like, normally the NeoPixel would do it on a lot of devices, but it seems like on this one does it. But then we had just like a sort of like blink example code thing going there, but that's not in the code by. Okay, so we know that flashing at 0 is fine. We know that the bin of 10, what did I just do? The current release, 10.2.0, is it? Yeah, 10.2.0, that's fine. Let us also do 10.3.1. Let's just double check that again. Like I said, I think I did it the other day, but let's not think we did it. Let's do it, and then we know. And then we will work backwards and find the one from before the IDF update. I think that's probably the most likely culprit, because that's the like main sort of, you know, massive shift in the espressive port that happened recently. So I think it makes sense it would be that. 10.3.0 alpha 1. They might have, excuse me, they might have released 10.3.0 alpha 1 right before the ESP update, possibly. Not sure. Or 10.3.0 alpha 1 might be with the ESP update. In which case, if it does work, then it tells us that the ESP update is not the problem. All right, so firmware is good. Reset. Oh no, did I kill this? Oh, I left this running. Okay, this one might be messed up because I did that. That's possible. Possible I messed it up. I'm surprised it deleted, honestly. I'm going to reset it and see. All right, so startup blinks. Then there's this. This is the one I don't know what it's... Oh, it stopped way faster that time. It must... I wonder... Yeah, I don't know what it is. Stopped way faster that time, though. We're back to 0 again. Joys of disconnecting, reconnecting. Okay, yeah, so 10.3.0 alpha 1 also is good. So now let's see, when was this merged? So this says it was merged 2 days ago. Oh, this is a different thing. I saw this in the Discord. This person's talking about all of these. Okay, yeah, and our issue is not that far because 10.2.0, 10.3, these both work fine for us. We're working on like main super new. Change title. When was the merge? Two days. May 7th, 12:15. So when was the release? Could look at the Git history. Probably be in this, but this week. April 30th. I said, what did I say? May 2nd? Seventh. Rhymes with second. Okay, so this was made before that. So I'm betting that that's got to be the case, probably. Let us go here, here. Crazy underground, London Underground map here. We can go to, try to find, so that was on the 7th. Maybe we can find merge. It's at 10:15 or something, didn't I? 12:15. I have no idea what time zone this is, though. Oh, there we go. Merge expressive. Pull request 1092. Yeah. Okay. So we should be able to go. Audio STM. This was a little while before, like half an hour before. I'm not sure what this one is. Updated translation. Oh, okay. This did a so I think this must have merged, and then this got updated after. It looks like, because that was just 1 minute later. I'm not actually super sure how the I'm not actually super sure how the translation build infrastructure works. So it very well could be when this got merged, it spawned an action that ran translate or whatever and then made these and committed them or something. I would not be surprised if that were the case. Okay, so we check out right before the IDF update, and then we can try to make a build back in this terminal. Clean. Oh, but the IDF is going to be all wrecked. Okay, so we need to do install again. We needed to do this. This is going to be mad, actually, though. I need to get out of the one. It was okay. I think this is not going to work, though. Because I'm in the one that I'm in, I think I need to not be, right? I already ran export, and I think that's going to make the install not work right or whatever. Also, actually, I probably need to update the submodules, because just checking this out probably did not update the submodules. In this case, downdate the submodules, because I want to get IDF back to not what it is. Is fetch going to work? I don't know. You know, I actually had an issue where submodules did not update correctly anyway. Hmm. could always go back to the I get a conversation where Claude basically helped me figure out why it was not updating correctly. The submodules, we could go back to there. It's got the command in it. It's basically I need to probably force it to update differently. So the thing is, there's like multiple layers of submodules now, and this thing does not recurse enough to get them all. David Glauda says, I'm worried if you try the weblate because that one failed to merge with its red bang. We could try the one before. Try the one before. Oh yeah, I don't know what that is. I didn't notice that. Not sure what that column says. Say anything. Do this one. I don't need the translations anyway, truthfully. Just to see if it runs or not. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we're on this one. We do still have to solve this problem though. The thing is that all of our stuff is going to be set for pretty sure all of our stuff is going to be set for 6. So update. Did that not work? Yeah, I need to. Okay. Okay, this did some stuff in the IDF. That's good. I'm pretty sure that I don't know how to like de-export the ESP IDF. Like when you do the IDF, you do install, then you do export. I don't know how to like de-export so that I could do a different one other than just use a new terminal. So we're gonna use a new terminal. I think still though, I'm not sure it's gonna be right. No. No, okay, it's doing 5. Okay. Oh, it did fail though. That's not good. Oh. Okay. I don't know if that means it doesn't work or not, because like it says it worked. Okay, yeah, we're totally in 5.5 now. Okay, so let's do we need anything else? We need to install some stuff. We need to install everything in here, I'm pretty sure. So export that I ran a second ago, that's going to put me in a Python virtual environment, even though it doesn't show here, which is weird, but whatever. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong one. Hey, my build is gone. Did I run clean? So maybe I ran clean. Must have ran clean. Too many terminals. What? Less than 45 greater than 1.4? What was in the requirements file? Or is there a separate requirements file for expressive? Just says cryptography. Not separate requirements file for that. I mean, we did run install. Did we? Good. Saw before it printed something. Yeah, so it says here that it uninstalled 48 and installed 44. Did I not? Maybe I didn't export? Yeah, I didn't export. Oh, okay. It didn't scroll. I was like, did I actually run the make? It made it farther, so. It's hopefully a good sign. Fortunately, Espressif is a little bit slower to build than like Raspberry Pi port, I've noticed. And let's see if there's an issue. I mean, this would be within the last 2 days only, so microSD. Oh, yeah. But this is S3. Oh, and this is also different because they made it to the REPL. Did I do an S main? Did I test this under ISPF6? Need to go back and test this on the ESPS3. Okay. Build. Alright. Let's flash it. Bootloader. Oh, okay. We saw this. These now. order is this in? Must be modified. You know what I should possibly do if this one also doesn't work is I could check out 10.3.0 alpha 1 and I could build that and I could flash it to make sure that my like building and flashing works, because we still haven't verified that, right? When I flashed 10.3.0 alpha 1 and 10.2.0, those both were downloaded, not built. Memory serves. Well, how does my star keep disappearing? Okay, we're in CircuitPython. All right, so I think this must be breaking it. We can verify by doing one more build at the exact place where this is merged, right here. And this one should be broken. And then that would tell us that it's either this Weblate one, which didn't change any code, so we know that it can't be that, or it's this one, and we pretty much has to be this one. You know, one thing that is odd about this is there's no, like... It feels like there should be more changes. Like, ESP didn't change. But I guess that's a submodule, so it's not a... What submodules? Maybe submodules don't show up here. That's the only thing I could think of. Okay, but while we're on, actually, before we go to validate that and get another broken one, why don't we do what I just said? Why don't we get 10.3.0 alpha 1, since we saw that we downloaded that and it worked. Why don't we get that and build it locally also? Wish I could get this in reverse order, huh? Oh no, there's a bunch at the bottom I don't want to. Okay, fair enough. 10.3.0 alpha 1. And that should be IDF5. So that's this terminal. And I should be able to make... I don't think I need to do anything else, because we were more or less, like IDF-wise at least, because we were basically on the same... Would have been on the same version and everything, I think, as this one. While this is building, I am going to run and feed the cat, because I think the cat is ready for lunch. So I'll be right back. Okay. You know what is still is odd to me is the other day I had a problem with submodules. Like embed TLS was like a submodule or something of IDF somehow, and that caused my thing to not work. And I had to resolve it with a submodule update recursive specifically pointed at the IDF submodule. And I don't understand why I've not had a similar problem going back to 5. Maybe that changed in the IDF. Maybe they started using the submodule thing that it was weirded out by. Wait, I built this one. No, I didn't, because that doesn't say dirty. Okay. Well, it doesn't actually, no, it doesn't say dirty because it's on a tag. I don't know. Okay, so we're building this one, or we were flashing this one that we just built. Which is 10.3.0 alpha 1, the tag release. Yeah, no, we built the one before, right? I did successfully build in Flash. I'm pretty sure. But that's all right. We'll do this one anyway also, just to make sure. Okay. Very good. So now we go to the one where it changed specifically. And we unfortunately wait again for the IDF to do its thing. On 6 now. So that's good. Okay. This is what I ran into the other day. Okay. So I guess this must have been a thing that changed in the recent IDF, I guess, right? Because 5 was not giving me this. And I think the deal is that, so CircuitPython has IDF as a submodule, and I think maybe IDF has embed TLS as a submodule, and then it maybe has this as a submodule, and I think that chain, that 3 deep recursion chain is what makes fetch port submodules not work. It says submodule update recursive path. Path is at the end. I think this is what I did to fix it. Yeah, I think we made it farther. So that must have been a change then in IDF6. They must have changed the way that they linked that thing in. You know, now that I think about it, I was trying to build something else with IDF the other day, and I got a similar problem when I tried 6. Solution would have been the same. Well, I mean, that had a whole different fetching mechanism, though, so I didn't think it shouldn't be relevant. So this is an IDF6 thing, but is different than what actually this... Ooh, I wonder if I should try web workflow. This is similar to what we're getting, especially this. I remember seeing. This totally says. I mean, this says 5.3 though, does it? Okay, we got this. Go to ESP bootloader. Oh, weird, it's at the bottom. All right. Yep. Okay. All right, so let's get an issue created. It's going to be possibly related to this. And I guess this came up as a comment here, it looks like. But it is S3. Was there any other? So there was also this, but this is older, right? This is 10.1. This must be something completely different because ESP IDF would have been on 5 at that point. Oh, I can't copy paste. Can't copy paste it. Okay. Oh well. Let's do other ESP32 C6. Duck. Or I guess let's do it. Should we do it the same way as this one? IDF 6.0.1 makes other ESP32C6 stuck in boot loop. Two. CircuitPython version and board name. So, other ESP32C6 builds from main starting with commit hash. Can I link this? If I like link this, does it work? No, I don't think it will. So I can't preview, so. I kind of did not really want the whole thing though. Can I guess I could copy the link. I don't know if that will work actually. Maybe it's JavaScript. Like a link. Starting starting at commit hash. Starting at, let's just say starting at this commit. All right, and okay, theirs must be what this is. I think actions or something. Not sure how the does it use the API? I don't know how it got the so we did here. Yeah, we did here and it worked. Builds from commit and earlier not have same problem. An A loop before CircuitPython launches. Whoa. Go back to Bailey for a second. There's Bailey, everybody. Serial port is printing this series of messages over and over. Tempted to say possibly related to that, but I don't actually know that. I don't really have anything to corroborate that other than the fact they both appeared on ESP-IDF6. So versions 10.2.0 and 10.3.0 alpha 1 have this issue. They were made before IDF update. We should maybe use the full name, I guess, because it's what, like PS no RAM, whatever, this thing. I don't know, I would assume that's something, but I'll leave the milestones up to them. Oh, why is this in a... I guess it's just always like that? Kinda weird looking. Really what I want. Not Python code either. Looks a little bit more sane. Okay. Let's see. Bob G says new here. What is the app with an icon CL? Looks kind of like PC of PyCharm. Yeah, totally. You are on point. It is called Sea Lion, and it is just the JetBrains, which is the company that makes PyCharm. It is the JetBrains IDE for C and C++. So it's just exactly like PyCharm, but made for C and C++. Actually, I won't say exactly like PyCharm. Like, the interface is effectively the same. I will say it's not... Coming from a person who used PyCharm for a while on relatively big projects and found it incredibly helpful, the way that it can like jump from one spot in the code to another spot in the code, even if it's a different file that's like still relevant to the other section, like a function definition or a template variable fill in source or like all kinds of stuff. Sea Lion is, I find, not as good at, like, at least in the CircuitPython repo, which is the only one, the main one that I use it with. It's not quite as good at like being able to control click through things or being able to like know that this thing is defined in this file over here. It's like doesn't really put all that stuff together as well as PyCharm does. But it does still have lots of helpful stuff in it, and it is still have all of the other surrounding IDE stuff. Namely, for me, like one of the most important things is all of the Git features. That's really the main hook that got me into PyCharm originally when I started using it anyway, is I didn't know how to use Git very well. And the visual interface that PyCharm has for making commits and pushing and doing these things and like merging and being able to pull from both sides and stuff, A, was like possible for me to do unlike the command line at the time, and B, like helped me understand way better what Git was even doing, generally speaking. And Sea Lion does come with all the Git stuff, which is super nice. And yeah, watch, and I will say also what's up, and thanks for checking out the stream. All right, let's try briefly to see if we can fix this. And when I say we, I mean me asking Claude if Claude can fix this. Because I think there's like a chance that this is super easy, like, oh, just change the number here because of something or whatever, or like uncomment this line or add this line to the build file or whatever. Like, there's a chance that's the case. Just do this little thing and then it's going to work. But there's also a chance that it's like, this is the beginning of a rabbit hole that goes deeper than I am prepared to follow for now. Might try it out if you can use it with Git to help with Git. Yeah, for sure. I really like PyCharm. That was the first one that hooked me into their world, their products, I guess, basically. And then they eventually, actually, I was streaming one day just like this, and JetBrains person strolled by and gave me a year free of the full suite. So I was using PyCharm on the stream, which I had paid for many years at that point, and they rolled by and gave me a free year of the full suite, and that's when I first started trying Sea Lion. I've also done WebStorm, the JavaScript one, and I have used the Java one as well. They call that IntelliJ? Is that actually IntelliJ, or is it just JetBrains? Idea? Anyway, whatever the Java one is, I've used to. And there, if you ever do work on the Android world, you'll recognize the rough look and feel of the IDE as well, because Android IDE is made by them as well. But it's free in partnership with Google and has a bunch of Android specific stuff in it. Okay, yeah, let's see if this is going to be an easy to fix or a not so easy to fix type of a thing. I don't know how to check out at a revision. Git checkout commit ID. It's the whole one? Detached head? Okay. Easy enough. I'm just going to use the full board name again, like I did here. That way it will find it if it searches the files. Okay. Well, that at least gets started. I think I'm gonna run to the restroom. So I will be back. Okay, what do we do? Searched for some stuff. Just looking through the Git history. I should have remembered to tell it that it can't build. And actually, it also would have been good to remember to tell it that the submodules are not updated or anything. If you're primarily looking for Git update, check out Git Kraken. Haven't heard of that one. I'll have to check that one out too. It's unrelated, but the bug I found and logged, now moved over to 10.988, was Wi-Fi crashing. Yeah, see, Claude said Wi-Fi crashed on the C6 build. Yeah. Yeah, in this case, I can't even get to the REPL or anything. Oh, you know what I did mean to check, though? Well, no, I've erased the flash. I was going to say I did mean to check the settings, Tommel, to see if... is this? I'm going to go to the IDF, check the version, do some stuff. Um, oh, I don't know. So I checked out the commit, but on the submodules, it might not really work. Hmm. Well, we'll let it look at this stuff. I don't think it's gonna, I don't know if it's gonna find the right stuff since I didn't update the files. When I had settings toggle with Wi-Fi, then it would crash loop. So mine, I didn't remember to actually check it, but I do think that it should not have had a settings toggle because I did erase while I was flashing. So I erased it a handful of times at this point. So if there was a file, it should have gotten wiped. We can go back and check explicitly at some point, perhaps. But we'll see what this comes up with. I'm curious, again, if this is just going to be like, oh yeah, the location is wrong here, or the size is wrong, or the something super simple. Which it seems possible by this error, making it seem like it's not even really getting, into CircuitPython very far at all. C6. Like it found a commit. Oh, this is old though, right? Very old. Okay, based on what I could see, here's my read. Only the ROM bootloader is producing output. After entry this, hand off to the second stage, nothing more prints, and then the chip resets back to the ROM banner. Reset 0xC software CPU saved an address inside the ROM. It means the previous boot crashed and reset while still executing ROM code before the second stage bootloader log ever gets a chance to print. So the failure isn't CircuitPython itself, it's in the second stage bootloader, or the IDF bootloader is crashing in on a ROM call right after entry. I checked the npconfig file for this. The also npconfig file. Defaults already has the workaround that landed during IDF6. I don't think this is true though. If this would have been from September? Fail bootloader on the chip. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's the case really. UF2, we're not doing UF2 anyway. UF2 only updates the app slot. The IDF6 bootloader has a different layout and format than the IDF5 one. I mean, that sounds like possibly the culprit. Not like we're not doing this thing, I don't think. This has a different layout than this. The bootloader binary moved / grew. You flash via UF2, the chip is still running. I don't even think this is possible on this device at the very least. It doesn't show up. Doesn't show up as a boot drive. It doesn't show up as a CircuitPy drive either. Try a full erase flash followed by a serial flash. Saying bootloader partition and firmware. I think these get all put into firmware for CircuitPython, but I'm not sure. Silicon revision. If you did erase flash, it should have done a partition table. I did, yeah, I did erase in here. I used this erase thing. Even we maybe could go back. Erased here. I don't even really know what this means, honestly. RevMin. The min chip RevMin. Okay. Let's see. I've been doing full erase and flashing bin files via web-based ESP tool. Yes. I'm thinking this, right? Number 3 we want to do. Yeah, what's up, Tyve? What was the offset for flashing? I did 0. I've always used 0 on this page. And importantly, I did use 0 for the ones that work also. So 10.3.0 alpha 1 and 10.2.0. I can flash using this exact same process, choosing 0 here, doing erase, program everything, all the exact same. And it works. Even built locally, we tested that a minute ago on 10.3.0 alpha 1. So my builds and my flashes are all good for the versions that aren't the IDF6 ones. So I think, let's say, I'll try enabling, enabling the bootloader log level. Bootloader log level. Where do I set that config though? Where do I set that config? I'm thinking probably makefile, or maybe that needs to be command line. Yeah, number 3 definitely is. Add it to the board's SDK config. File is per board and it gets merged last, so it overrides the defaults. Put that in there. I guess we'll take this whole section. I don't think most of this is necessary, but does not set lines for the wait, what? This is not is not set. Oh, they do matter. Look at that. Weird. Okay. Just reflash the bootloader. Okay, see now that I'm a little bit, I don't know, am I building the bootloader? I know that I'm building the bootloader. Maybe that is the problem. Maybe I just have an old bootloader. Because there's no bootloader here. And I think, doesn't it? No, that one doesn't have a bootloader either. What was I in the other day? I guess that was the other ESP thing. None of these make bootloader. Maybe I have the wrong bootloader. Already a comment here. Oh, that's strange because I thought I specifically tested 600 with that due to this. Huh. I am wondering I'm wondering. Dan on Discord? We'll see if he's actually around still. I'm not sure. Okay. All right. Yeah, we can try doing this just like it says and make the build and see if it's any different. That will maybe tell us if the bootloader is there or not. I don't know. We could probably ask. I think Claude could possibly look around and find out if it looked at the make files and all the stuff. Like, it might be able to tell. What is up, my friend Bozo Dimitrov over in the Twitch chat? Never tried ESP32. It's a pretty nice chip. Only the original ESP. It's definitely nicer than the original ESP, in my opinion. The ESP8266s they were nice for like what they were, and they're very cheap. They lowered the barrier to like Wi-Fi on a microcontroller by a lot, monetarily speaking. I will always cherish them for that. But the ESP32 is really nice because you don't have to do the whole like sort of serially AT command thingy going on. How good is the Wi-Fi? I think it's pretty good. I'm not I don't necessarily like do extensive testing on it or anything. I don't have a particularly like, challenging Wi-Fi network or anything. Like, not doing any torture tests on it or anything, but it works pretty fine around my house and makerspaces and stuff where I've used it. What do I want to use it for with CircuitPython? So we already support the ESP32 based devices, a couple of them with CircuitPython. We already also support the ESP32C6. I am mainly just looking into an issue with the ESP32C6. It's kind of like several hops down the rabbit hole, but I started with trying to implement, well, I am working on implementing I2SIn audio for microphones. It was failing on these C6 devices. I started trying to build for it. I figured out that I think the issue is not really related to the mic thing that I'm actually working on. It's related to something else. So that's kind of where we're at, is troubleshooting why the C6 build. Well, first we were figuring out that the C6 build definitely was broken after this point and was working before this point. And now we are trying to figure out why. I'm part of the CircuitPython team. Yeah, so yeah, I work on CircuitPython for Adafruit. If you're interested in CircuitPython and the development and stuff, I would encourage you also to check out. I stream on Tuesdays as well over on the Adafruit channel, working on similar sort of stuff. So Tuesdays, it's 10 a.m. Central US time over on that Adafruit channel. You can catch me streaming similar stuff. And then Scott, the lead developer of CircuitPython, also streams on Fridays at well, I'll just use the same time zone since I just said US Central. He streams on Fridays at 4 p.m. US Central. He bills it in different time zone because he's in a different place. But until the C5, there's no 5 gigahertz. Oh yeah, that's right. I think that's a newer one, right? They like went backwards or something, or maybe 6 is 6 after 5. That is true though. I think the 32s they can't do a 5 gigahertz network. That's true. So my Wi-Fi does both 2.4 and 5. So it's not a thing I think about too frequently with different devices because usually like the device will just get on the one that it can. But that's a good point in the chat there. VP Tech Ops says ESP32 only after a certain version C5 does the 5 gigahertz stuff. All right, let's get into boards. SDK was it? This one. Not it. Where is it? This one. Okay, config. Don't have hardly anything here. You know, one thing that's a kind of a bummer is the way how you copy out of here and you end up with these 2 spaces. I wish that was not like that somehow. Yeah, we don't really have, I don't know if it matters where we put this exactly, but hopefully that'll be fine. One thing about the IDE is it doesn't always like the syntax like this. It's freaking out. Maybe I could install, but like I'm not gonna. I try to not be installing plugins in my IDEs really. All right, let's try that. Oh, that was it. I gave up at the right when I found it, like that guy with the diamond mines and the pickaxe or whatever in the meme. Heard it's good for industrial IoT. That was from a little bit ago. This is over on the Twitch, by the way, for folks who are not in the Twitch chat. That's what I'm reading off now. Yeah, I mean, I think they're used in a lot of like, well, it's certainly like consumer stuff. Like, I think there's some new IKEA stuff that has ESP32 things inside. I think lots of little IoT things are going to be having ESP-based devices inside there. So I want to push a debugger. Yeah, so right now what we're trying to do is enable the extra logging in the bootloader and then flash it. And hopefully, if we're actually getting the bootloader with the build that I'm doing, which that's the part, like, I'm not really sure if that's happening or not. If we are actually getting the bootloader being built here and being flashed when I flash it, then theoretically, fingers crossed, the idea is that it should give us a more useful error message than we got before, which was just this thing. This is basically our output from before. And so it gets to entry and then just cuts off. The goal is hopefully maybe this one is going to have a little bit more stuff. Let's see what Dan said also. There is no bootloader. Okay. Because it cannot present as a drive. You just load the bin. There's only the ROM bootloader. Interesting. Only the ROM bootloader. What is this thing talking about then? It was saying the second stage bootloader? Only the ROM bootloader is producing output. Second stage bootloader. Okay. I don't know what that means then. I think we're back to me being a little bit in over my head, I guess, but we'll see. Okay, so this build, this didn't give it an error. We could try flashing it, reboot this. Do this page. Erase. Okay. Okay, reset. Oh. It's the exact same. Is it? No, it is ever so slightly different, actually. Hmm. Well, we may have gotten our answer that the answer is not going to be easy to fix. At least for me. Reflash this. I think there is a bootloader.bin for this device. It doesn't ever present as a USB flash drive like other CircuitPython devices do. Flashing always takes place through the ROM bootloader. And when I build CircuitPython, I'm putting on another machine. I still never actually mentioned that. I only get firmware.bin. I am unsure if that contains a second stage bootloader. How that works. Let's see what it says about that. About to be AFK, Dan says. Cool. I tested with an artifact from 601 PR, except it was 600 at the time. It's hard to search the results. That's an interesting idea. We could try grabbing it from actions, the artifact. Two different things named bootloader, easy to mix up. You have two bootloader. This we don't have. Yeah, IDF. A separate small binary. The ROM loads from flash at offset 0, jumps to every chip uses 1. This is why it's printing nothing after this. Almost certainly what's crashing. So there is a second stage bootloader for this device. It's just bundled into firmware bin along with the partition table and app. CircuitPython's expressive build concatenates into a combined. So if this is true, then this is good information to know. You know, it came out of the chatbot. It may or may not be true at this point, and I certainly don't know enough to know for sure one way or another. Individual pieces live here. Yeah, it doesn't actually make... Oh, okay, it says that. Yeah. Okay. Just rebuild after editing this, then reflash the same this. That replaces the second stage the same as the app, and you should then see a more verbose logs. No, unfortunately I do not. Should we try resetting again, maybe? I don't know if that will matter. I built and flashed this version, and the output looks mostly the same. All right, while that is doing its thing, why don't we try... Where's the rest of them? I have to go into here? Go into here. Is there no... Oh, there's 251. Why is there only 4 here? I don't... The interface on this screen, I do not understand at all. I super dislike this thing that's like a map for zooming in and out and breaks your ability to scroll down the page. And you have to drag, like... But also this, like, there's no pagination. Like, there's only 4 things, but this says 200 things. And then this just takes me to here, and there's 4 things. And I have no idea. It's in a new tab. Okay. No idea how to, like, get to anywhere useful. Maybe it's in one of the other, maybe on one of the other checks. Are there other artifacts, arts? Yeah, I don't know how, like, if we go into it, does it go in here? Then there's no artifacts down here. I mean, this would have been the job that would have built it, I think. And then uploaded right here, the artifact. Can I link? Oh, yes. We don't have to fight the rest of the interface because we can get it from there. Okay, we'll try this in a second. What did Claude ever say? Oh, what are you doing? Bootloader binary did grow. Segment sizes went from this to this. So verbose were compiled. That confirms the merge order picked up the override. The fact that we still see 0 output after entry means the bootloader is dying before the first log call. The first few instructions of startup before console init banner. That's why turning the logs didn't help. Let me peek at a few other boards to see if any of them carry IDF stuff. All right, so it's going to look at more stuff. That's fine. Get more stuff. What does this contain simple expansion? Oh, that's talking about the command, I guess. All right, let's try flashing this. Oh, I'm not in the, oops, I'm not in the bootloader. On bootloader? That's disconnected. This poor chip is like, why do you keep erasing me? I'm sure. Okay, all other have empty of this, same as this, so there's a regret. Yes, that's what we're trying to fix, my friend. Come on now. Yeah. No, don't worry about that. Just assume it's for all. I mean, I assume it's for all of them. I don't have any other ones to try. I don't. Digging through the memory banks for a second. I don't think I have any other C6s. Try slower, safer flash settings. Okay, this is a thing we could try. We could definitely try this. Wait, what? It's a reset. No log output. No clue why. Dropping the DIO 40 megahertz is the standard. Is this flash init the problem test? Flash, I mean, Flash could be the culprit, because we do see here where it says this thing, right? Like, I don't know why this is always... But again, it says this whether it's successful or not, so... We can totally test this, though. This sounds like a thing to test. I will probably wrap it up before too long here. I'm willing to test a few more simple things. But if we keep pulling threads and we just keep getting more string, then I will be wrapping it up before too long here. All right, so let's reset this. Let's check here. Back to 1. Okay, this was from the PR, right? This is the artifact, so the artifact does do this. Could stop that for now. I will put the link in the Discord. Okay. Flash init speed. Used to flash directly with the serial pins on the 8266. Okay, so we'll leave this just in case we make it a little bit farther but still crash. It'd be nice to have that extra stuff. We will grab these with their extra 2 spaces each. Where did those go? This goes in mp config. Oh, we need to change actually this. Actually just the middle one. Was it? Clean build. It's weird. This is a... Or, okay, I got it. This is part of the previous sentence. I see. The symptom is instant reset after entry, no output, no clue why. Okay, and then the test, or is flash init the problem, is this drop it to 40 megahertz thing. Okay. I kept misreading that as like, no clue why this is the test. And I was like, why are you telling me the test if you have no clue why it's the test? But I was definitely misreading. This is like, the sentence before is like, from the perplexed user's perspective. Okay, we gotta build, and we do it all again. So go back to ROM bootloader. Do the flash again. Should wait for it to finish. I mean, I don't think it really matters if we choose the file, but it feels better probably to. Repos, Adafruits, CircuitPython. It's wrong. CircuitPython, it should be this one. Here I'm actually an I2S out. At this point, I'm no longer dealing with, but that's the repo. That's the folder. That's the folder I'm in. Yeah, would be ports. Ports. There it is. Espressif build firmware. Program. Okay. Reset. Oh. Okay. How much power? Not very much, I think. The true answer is I don't actually know, but I don't think it's very much. No more than relatively standard, I would hazard to guess. I mean, it takes 5 volts in through the USB, although it's USB-C. I don't think it negotiates higher than 5 volts, though. I'm pretty sure it stays at 5 volts. The chip itself runs at 3, so there's a regulator that drops the 5 down to 3. I have no idea how much current it needs, but I don't suspect that it's underpowered. Because it does work successfully on the, oh, that's weird. This says specifications, but there's nothing there. It does work successfully on the builds that came from IDF5. Huh. I'm not using ultra low power, I don't think. I'm not using deep sleep, I guess I should say, but looks like that's the only hint we get really as far as power goes. Oh, did I use this for WizLights? That's why there was WizLight code on this. That's funny. I found WizLight code on this device. I was like, why on earth is this here? Did I actually, though? Because that's in a breadboard, and I don't have pins on this. The photo must be a, photo must be an S2 or an S3. I did have code, it just wouldn't have had buttons, would be the deal. It would have done just send the signal when it launched anyway. That's a whole nother thing. No matter. Yeah, short answer is I don't know. Has a lot of connectivity. And then, I mean, the other thing is theoretically it should not be revving up the radios. I mean, I don't know exactly what all the code does, but because we've been erasing, we shouldn't have a settings toml. Because we have no settings toml, it should not, if it's actually making it into CircuitPython, which I'm still unclear if it is or not, but if it's getting into CircuitPython, then the lack of a settings toml should mean no, like it's not trying to connect to Wi-Fi, it's not trying to do Bluetooth, it's not trying to do anything theoretically, really. Okay. So we did a clean build with these things and we still get the same error. So I will tell Claude that I think it said before, this tells us that the flash is not the problem. Basically that's probably where we're gonna have to leave it for now though. So it says if this boots cleanly, which it does not, if it still boot loops, then the flash is not the culprit. We should look at region protection or chip rev settings. Okay. So we'll say I built with 40 megahertz frequency, 40 M frequency, and it's still boot loops. Looks like mostly the same output. Maybe even the exact same. I didn't look that close. It's a bit easier for the LLM to judge if it's the exact same or not than it is for me. Briefly, so let's see. It looks like mostly the same output. Hopefully I copied the right thing. I'm not actually sure if I did. I don't think it was 10 lines, was it? Like 10 lines, maybe. Maybe it's exactly 10. We got an extra one. Okay. Let's see what it says. I think we'll have to try one of the other things, but is there like anything solid as a firmware that can be used for testing? Yeah, I mean, so can I install some other firmware just to test? Yeah, totally. So I can do that while this is working here. We successfully flashed a few things. Yeah, so the device is totally fine. Even the build process is totally fine. I built an older version, and that works. So yeah, I'll flash one of the ones I downloaded for now to keep it easy since I just did a failed build. But yeah, totally the thing is, essentially like very recently, 2 days ago, we updated from, well, the merge happened 2 days ago from the PR. Scott was working on this prior to 2 days ago, but 2 days ago, the PR got merged that updated the ESP IDF that we use from version 5 dot something to version 6 dot something. And basically every build, it seems to me, I haven't tested 100% of all of them, but it seems to me every build after that is broken and every build before that works. And when I say broken, I mean broken in this way where it's doing this boot loop thing here with this stuff. And so anything from before the merge 2 days ago seems to be fine. So this one I downloaded here was 10.3.0 alpha 1. We can flash that and it should be fine. Yeah, so this one here is fine. Did I tell the LLM that we got success with the other firmware so it could rule out some scenarios? I didn't, not specifically. It's kind of implied by my first message, but I definitely did not make it clear. I said here when I started this session, I said we're in the repo for CircuitPython. IDF was recently updated to 6 from 5. I've found that on this device, the build seems to boot loop. So I did not like outright say that it does not boot loop on 5, but it is kind of implied, I feel. See what this says. So the ROM is loading 27 kilobytes, second stage bootloader successfully. The segments load the valid address, so flash reads work and the bootloader image isn't corrupt. Bootloader resets before its very first log call, regardless of the flash speed or log verbosity. Saved PC that lives inside the mask ROM, so the reset is being triggered from a ROM helper function in the bootloader called, not from C code in the bootloader itself. That fits a panic path. Mismatch chip rev. You know, it's mentioned this a few times. Still unclear on why that would change between versions 5 and 6, but I don't know. You can reaffirm it briefly, just to update the memory about the situation. Yeah, we can do that. We squeezed about as much as we can guessing. The next things I would do in order are confirm the regression, not your tree. Do a fresh checkout. So I think I'm not going to do this on the stream for sure, because I am about to wrap it up here in just a minute. I think we don't need to do this, though, because I downloaded from S3. The actions upload the bins to S3. So those are all built, and those are built off of fresh pulls every time. So those ones that I downloaded would be fresh, and we have flashed those and seen that they crash the same way. So I feel like we have confirmed this. There's always room to be more sure, but I think pretty well we have confirmed it. This says if this boots, we were already reporting, that's fine. It boot loops. Try a different, yeah, so that's the thing. I only have one C6. I could build, but that doesn't help me, right? Because I don't have anything to flash it on. Or I guess oh, okay, it's saying I could build this. Okay. Maybe I'll try that later. I don't really think it's likely to change anything, but I could try it later. Okay, if you can ask the model to figure out a get bisect. So I mean, we already have it nailed down to the commit, I'm pretty sure. We tested earlier, like one commit before. Well, actually I did 2 commits before because there was a weird one, but so I guess technically we're narrowed down to a 2 commit range, but only one of them touches anything that should matter. The other ones are just translations. So I think we have it narrowed down to a commit. And I think it's the commit where the IDF was updated. This is saying they should be, but yeah, so I think this is true as well. I think I'll test it later, probably Monday. Building a different device and flashing it, I think it's like super likely it does the same thing. If both confirm an ID's F6, file a comment. Yeah, no, I already did. Oh, that's crazy. It's like telling me about Scott and Dan. It got Dan's name wrong, though. It's D. Halbert, I'm pretty sure, on GitHub. This is actually crazy that it's like... it's like saying these two are going to go on and troubleshoot. Like, this is kind of a weird thing for it to make the claim about what these people will do, right? That's interesting. Without JTAG or a way to get the bootloader to talk before it dies, can't narrow it further from inside the repo. Yeah, no, I think... Yes, that's true. This is another weird thing about Claude is like talking to the general audience, right? Talking to the general public as though you are the general public always, but like for all it knows, like I could be Scott or Dan. In this case, I'm me, and I'm not quite Scott or Dan, but I'm like, I think this is likely the case, and I'm trying to fix it, but it's talking to me like, oh, yeah, probably it just got broken with that big update. We should just make an issue. And I'm like, no, we're trying to solve the issue, actually. Like, we are going to be the change we want to see in the world, hopefully. But it's like, just report this to an adult. Does this have a debug pin? Some Espressifs have a debug pin, do they, I think? Or am I thinking of Raspberry Pi? I'm thinking of Raspberry Pi. Does not have a debug pin. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea how to do like JTAG or whatever. I'm not sure if this has the right headers to be able to get other stuff, but yeah, pbrave AI, do it yourself. Yeah. Debug. Well, so I think should have it. So I think on some of these, isn't there a pin labeled debug? Oh, this is a weird one though, because it's reverse. Yeah, this pin here, it's DB on this. Let's go to a different one though. DBG on it. This is what I was thinking of. So this one has this pin here, and you can, like, we're a little bit honestly over my head. I don't know if this is technically JTAG or if this is, like, I don't really know what it is, but I know that it spits out helpful information if your device is crashing. And what you can do is you can connect to this pin with like an FTDI thing, like a serial USB adapter thing, and you hook up like ground and you hook up the receive pin to this debug. And then I think you also need to make a debug build of CircuitPython. And once you do all of those things, then you can read serial from that adapter and you can see messages come from this pin. What I don't know though is, like, there's not a pin labeled that on the C6. So I don't know if it has it. So this calls it TXD0. We could look in the pinout for the C6 and see if it also has a TXD0. I don't see it. This one's definitely not it, just IO9. It has TX and RX. But I don't see any D for debug. We could search debug, anything? Nope. So in order to find out, truthfully, we would need to know where it's, like, we would need to know where it's at on the C6. Oh, hey. Maybe. Let's check the other thing real quick. I am actually going to wrap it up here in just a minute. There is debug in the image. Did I miss it? Oh, this is the wrong one. Hold on. Have debug? Or is that the other one? It's in blue. Oh, so this, so it has debug labeled here in the legend. And then I guess that color would basically apply to these and these. But the truth is, I don't know. I've never seen them with MT. I don't know what the MT really is talking about. I'm not sure if those are the same kind of debug or not. And then unfortunately this one, the colors change. So here's a couple of MTs and they're definitely not on this one in this case. Weirdly, this one just has nothing else. TXD0 and then nothing. I want to look on the schematic of this one and see if it shows TXD0. It does. Okay, so on this one, this is the S3 TFT. So this is a S3 TFT, and here it has TXD0 internally maps to TXD0 externally, which is TXD0 here, which is the debug pin. On this one, which is the C6, doesn't have it in the name, but this is the C6, it says down here. TXD0 internally maps to TX. So possibly maybe if we hook up the FTDI friend adapter Modili doohickey to this pin, EX, maybe we would get some output that's useful. If we did a debug build also, possibly. Okay, so that's good to know. That's another thing I'll probably try on Monday is a debug build and then hook up the USB serial adapter to this pin, which I'll have to put headers. This one has no headers right now, and I don't want to solder a wire to it. So I'll put headers, then we can use the feather jumper, feather tripler doubler thingy. I can connect to that. I can try to see if there's anything else in there. I'm not sure there's going to be, though. That's the other thing, is usually that's good for like a CircuitPython hard crash. And I don't think we're making it to CircuitPython, truthfully. I think we're dying before that, so I'm not sure that's going to get us anywhere, but it's definitely worth a try. And then it looks like beyond that, we'll have to figure out whether this thing has the right hookup for a JTAG or not, and or possibly, I am pretty, I do say it's weird that this thing is saying Scott and Dan can reproduce this. I do suspect Scott at least probably has another C6 that has the 2 ports or whatever, right? The 2 USBs and all the extra debug headers and all that stuff. He probably has the dev board one, so. Okay. Maybe the boot board. Yeah, possibly we get some extra information there on the T. Yep. All right. I think that's going to do it for now. So thanks everyone for watching. Nice to see you all. Thanks for checking it out. Bozo Dimitrov in the Twitch chat there. It was nice to hang out with you for a bit. Like I said, I do stream on Tuesdays over on the Adafruit channel, 10 a.m. Central Time. So I'll be back on Tuesday then, over there. And I stream here on my channel. I do usually go a bit earlier. I usually start at 10 a.m. Central. But I had some other stuff going on this morning that I found throughout the week. So I went and did that, and we were a bit later today. So I should be back, as far as I know, at the normal time next weekend, 10 a.m. Central here on my channel as well on Saturday. Until then, so long, farewell. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and weekend, and I will see you later.